you talk about the 4 revenue options. You didn't discuss and don't go into detail about how airports negotiate with airlines to contribute to the capital facilities. But do you have estimates? Since every airport is different, are there estimates of what airlines provide in this mix, say for SeaTac as an example?
Yeah, so we have actually done a financial forecast just based on the preliminary numbers that we have for the master plan. Again, we have not selected the preferred alternative as yet, but when we look at the alternative, that would be in about the $10 billion range at a 450 PFC. If we do not have an increase in the PFC, by 2034, the cost per enplanement to the airlines would increase from approximately $10.15 today to $49, $50, and we think that would be unacceptable. I know I've heard that the airlines will pay, but I don't think they'll be willing to pay that much at any airport.
So from $10 estimated to $49 to $50.
Yes.
Under your current capital plan. Okay. And so the alternative, it's either out of the airline who presumably puts that into their fare.
So yeah, so if we do not have additional PFCs, and if we use bond, for example, go to the bond market, all of that goes into the rates and charges for the airlines.
Yeah. Okay. So can you talk a little bit about, and for Mr. Donahue as well, and Mr. Little. Mr. Donahue, you have American is largely the big dog at DFW, where at SeaTac you have Delta and Alaska and United and others as well, but largely Alaska and Delta, so some multiple carriers, let's call it. Can you two just briefly talk about what that means for operations and how you have to plan at the airport? Okay, Mr. Little, you go first.
Okay, it is very interesting because I think in the last use and lease negotiations, the primary airlines that was negotiated with was Alaska Airlines. Now Delta has grown significantly at airports, so we're actually currently, the use and lease agreement, what we call the SLO agreement, expires at the end of this year. So we're in negotiations right now with multiple airlines, but of course the big players are Alaska and Delta. It's very challenging because we have a gate allocation methodology that basically favors an airlines that actually growing at the airport. So it favors one airline over the other. And the problem is we are constrained. We just do not have enough gates. During peak time, we cannot accommodate all the airlines at the airport. In fact, we are now doing hard stand operation. And as we try to get these CIP projects that I just mentioned, which will add additional gates, during that time, we will have to continue doing hard stand operations. So gates are our biggest issue, and that's the biggest challenge that we have negotiation with, not just Alaska and Delta, but American, Southwest, all the other airlines that we have at the airport.
Yeah. Mr. Donahue?
We are actually in discussions with American on the future master plan of the airport and adding a terminal and adding gates. And because American dominates DFW, probably shouldn't use the word dominate, it's the largest airline at DFW, they tend to invest in DFW because it's so important to them. But I would agree with Mr. Little's point. As we look at these infrastructure needs in the future, we are not supportive, nor do we want to see the cost per enplanement for passengers double or triple as we do these programs, because the only solution is the bond market. Because I feel that then makes us uncompetitive as a hub versus other major hubs in the U.S. So that's why I think it's important that we continue to work with the airlines to find the right solution, as I said, to find a balanced solution so that we make the proper investments, but we have to pay just critical attention to making sure our costs don't get so out of whack that it's uncompetitive either in the U.S. or globally, because as you know, this is becoming more and more of a global aviation industry.
Thank you. Thanks. Yield back.
Mr. Rokita.
Thank you, Chairman. I appreciate you having this hearing. I appreciate listening to everyone's testimony.